So, I'm going to be taking a look at this today, and there are some issues. But before we get started, a couple of announcements. I have not put up the brief. I'm sorry. I have been extremely busy. I feel like I have like 8 heads, and they're all trying to make my body walk in a different direction because I have to be minded about my health. I have to stay on top of my medications for my thyroid and try to get good sleep. I have buying a house. I'm worried about how much work is going to be going to go into the house and how much work I have to do. I'm worried about some personal things, and I have to do work. I have to be present for my classes and for my students and a bunch of other things, and it's really hard to stay on top of all that. So I am sorry that I have not had any time to write a brief for you guys for the upcoming challenge, but it is definitely going to be something that I do on my break when I am moving. So we want to make the transition of the internet from one house to the new house as seamless as possible, but considering Spectrum and our service provider, we most likely will have like a 3-day internet outage probably before we move, and 2 days into the house when we move in. So that's going to be tricky, but hopefully we can get all the repairmen and all the electrician people to come in and do things within the same week. There is also moving, so boxing things and moving, which is something else I have to worry about, along with making appointments with all these repairmen. And I wish I could just get all of you guys right here with me to come help me move. But we're all so scattered across the globe. I wish I could have a lot of people come in and help me move, because it's just going to be... I know I'm going to try to do a lot of the moving on my own. I'm going to pick up the slack and not tell anybody that my back is hurting, but... I'm going to try not to do that. I'm not going to lie about my back pain so that I have strength enough for flooring and painting and drywalling. Oh my god. So there's going to be quite a long break upcoming. Probably the rest of the quarter I will not be present for critique hour or private sessions. I will let all my students know, and I will try to get internet up and running as soon as possible, set up my desk, even if there's no flooring, set up my desk as soon as I can in my office, set up my bed so that I still have the core basics at my reach in order to perform classes. It's only a handful of classes a day in critique hours, so I think I can do it. But it's about your mental space. If you're in the mental space of construction, it's hard to teleport and use a Stargate back to art mind. Even harder to move that back to personal art and then back into writing. So that's why I find it difficult to just constantly shift between my mental space and the type of mind I'm using in order to tackle my issues. And at a constant rate, I'm always at 60% capacity starting, just because of my back pain and where I am with my medical issues. So the plan of action is to get as much sleep as possible, get as much rest as possible, get as much help as I can from everyone around me and my friends, and get back to you guys as soon as I can. But official announcement, hopefully even by next week, I will have started moving, boxing, and I'll need every hour in the day to be able to do all that, and then rent the U-Haul, and oh my god. This is the first move I've done in like 7 years. I have 7 years worth of crap in this tiny little apartment. So I'm gonna be out. I'm gonna be clocked out for a 2-week period. But it's a beautiful change in my life. It's a good distraction from where I was before. But then again, I am sorry that this big change came out of nowhere. The apartment buildings that we rent in were sold randomly and without our notice, which I think is illegal. No tenants were notified during their closing period, which was pretty stupid. So that's why we're hustling and bustling to get out of here as soon as possible. So there's all of that. I will try to get a challenge out during the break. That way you guys are focused on your environments. If not, we'll just do things as they go. If there's no challenge, you guys still do your thing. Do your 14-day challenges. Do your personal pieces. upload as you go. I will always come back and take a look at the Reddit and backtrack 2 months and make sure I critique everything that needed critiquing. And I just ask for your prayers. I believe in prayers. I think they work. I would love if you guys sent some my way. That would be really great. But let's get started on today's class. So the issues with this piece, there is a number of them, and they all stem from the narrative, really. It feels like he's a young fella, but you've painted his body type as if he's a humanoid of some kind. Head is really tiny. I'm not sure why the head is so tiny on this dude, and on this dude the head seems pretty good size for this one, and then this one you just shrink it down, so the head is super small. Also very effeminate, because of the eyebrow arc. An eyebrow arc that low, or that's shaped like that, we really wouldn't get a lot of light underneath unless it's like drag queen or something like that. We would actually try to remove as much as possible any extra shapeage to the eye, because it gets rid of the masculine read. This could easily be pulled off as a female bulky character. The silhouette of the cheekbones is circular at the top. It should be a little bit more cut off for a male face. That will help it read better as a male, including these sections here. Everything else looks great. I'm not sure why he has upper eyelid eye sockets that are that strong and lower eyelid. Again, it just makes it look like he has makeup on and eyeshadow, and that eyeshadow that goes into the eye socket. It just feels like it'll feel more masculine if you get rid of a majority of these little makeup signatures, and that's mostly because you paint girls, most likely, more than you paint guys, and that's where you pick that up. So I'm just trying to find an even value. Men have more hooded eyes than females do because of the lower eyebrow. The eyebrow is also a bit too thick, and it needs to be flattened out, so we're canceling out all of these shapes here, this extra shape. I would want to get rid of the smile, unless, you know, you're trying to make it seem like he's a character that smiles a lot, but I would just get rid of it for character design, stand up, and like a standing character design. And then we are just blending out the silhouette of these cheekbones. Be very careful with effeminate cheekbones. It'll just look very uncanny very quickly. He's a very masculine dude. And then we have maybe that's because the jawline is so strong. And then we have absolutely no shadow in between the eyebrows, which is a bit weird. That's not a good... Oh, crap. My glasses are in my office. I mean, my bedroom. I have these bifocals up with these. I feel like an old lady. So, alright. I need my glasses. So, one moment, please. Okay. So this is why I'm zoomed out from such a big distance, just so that we can address why you have no shadow there in between. Oh, I'm just squinting my eyes. And then we've got the shadows on the inner eye space. That's making him look a little bit older. Thank you. Because the reason why it looks like makeup is because you gave us this really super shine on the inner eyes. So let me just do a little Google search on like some feminine eye makeup, like female eye makeup. Like, let's just do something like that. Almost every single one has extra brightness on the inside. So this brightness right here, we got a bit of color in there. This inner corner, both of these have color on the inside. I don't know, almost every single one does. This one, this one, this one, this one. So you're using a makeup, like really strong too. A makeup like template. This is like a signature thing. that we see in makeup. So I'm just going to find a neutral skin tone and just throw in there. Yes, he may have some oil on his face, but I think it's a tad excessive considering it's as much spiked as the nose tip is. Unless there's makeup in there, it shouldn't be that spiked out. And then we've got the fact that his eyes are too far apart. So I'm going to just bring them in a little bit with a pinch. Oh, that's a little too much. Alright, so we're gonna try to cross the eyes a little bit as well. So they're looking in one particular direction. He kind of looks really, really derpy for some reason. And I just put the space back, and I'm just going to tilt that down. Push those cheekbones in a little bit more. And push that nose a little bit lower. Just because of the perspective that we're looking at. And again, I'm just going to get rid of that smile. Just so he looks like a seasoned warrior. It doesn't look like a dude in some cosplay. And I'm going to tilt the outer corners of the eyes down so he looks a bit more masculine. So this is all just portraiture stuff that I hope you're getting the picture. Just with portraiture stuff, he looks less like a drag queen. So we're just using basic, male definers of male beauty and male masculinity, that finely tuned, finely calibrated balance between male beauty and masculinity. But you see the issue with the upper eyelid and the extra space over here. It just looks like one of these ladies. Alright? It's just this line, this shadow eye socket line that they place in there deliberately. Just like that. And then we got rid of that. So he looks a little bit more intimidating. It looks a little bit more strong, less ridiculous. Less like a painted circus character. And then we've got the head size, which is very small. I can't even imagine what his height is if his head is that small. So I'm just going to increase the size of his head. And that'll look a little bit more proportionate to his body type. Okay, so before, after, and then I'm just gonna open up Portrait Studio because what's happening with this foot is very wrong. So the male model here in Portrait Studio, I'm gonna try to pose it with this dude in mind. I'm gonna move that. Never mind. Okay, so we're gonna push him into a better perspective, very similar to the one we're seeing the character in. And then the head is tilted this way. And the issue with the head is I would have loved if it was here, shifted down, as if, he's ready to attack. He kind of looks bored. He's just in queue. Not like waiting in a line. He doesn't really look like someone who is always thinking about the offensive. And when you have a head that's tilting down, it really feels like he's thinking about, he's in constant warrior mode. And you can see with this basic Portrait Studio model, even without very little field of view, like let's increase the field of view and zoom back in, we can see the top of the feet. It's as if the camera is level with his stomach. We decrease the field of view back to basic, like default view. We can still see the top of the foot. So it's not very strong field of view and we can see it. But here you showed us the side of the foot. Do you want to know what that looks like? It looks like he did this and this just to accommodate to the camera. That's what that looks like. Okay. It makes zero sense. So let's put that poor foot back where it belongs. And not sure what other freaking change I did. I'm really not sure how I bastardized this poor font. I think it was just more this way. With this position just like that, and minimal field of view, so let's shrink it down even more, we can still see the top of the foot. So we're pushing this leg out further. Again, we're giving him a stance that makes it look like his occupation is offensive, and some kind of military, seasoned military warrior. Then in one of these, he's holding the bow, which looks like it's made out of cardboard. Again, that's why it feels like cosplay. When you're holding a heavy-ass bow, what happens? Your arm doesn't bend. Your arm stays straight. Your shoulder shifts this way because it's holding something heavy. This is the arm that gets to relax and bend. No, just use the full curve. This is the arm that gets to chill a little bit. Okay. And just rotate it, let it chill calmly. And then if you want, you can have that really, oopsie, you can have that really anime-esque kind of tilt to the body. So he's already looking pretty dynamic just from shifting his shoulders back. And let his head hang with it. Let his head hang with it. His head is being pulled down, and he's kind of just still tilting his head that way, looking at the camera. Don't want him to look too much like a zombie, though. Alright, so look at that attitude already in the hips, and he's just holding that heavy arrow, you know, that heavy bow. And so his arm, his hand will move that way, holding the bow. So we already see a number of issues with your piece just from, you know, just from all of this. But I want to give him more of an athletic body type, so I'm increasing the upper torso. And you can stylize a lot with Portrait Studio's models. You can stylize as long as you know that you have to shift the head back down to a smaller size, because the head as joints are connected in the models. So we don't want the head to look like a toddler's head. So we're shrinking it back to size. And now we have a strong upper body to represent the strength that's needed to carry such a heavy bow. And the arm could move back. And in order to get to that control, the resize control, you just press R. Press on the joint and press R. E to get the rotation, and W to reposition the joint. Okay. So there's also other things you can do to represent personality. Whoopsie. And like keeping his head high, keeping the camera low, his head high, tilted this way. Camera low, head low, and you can just turn off these joints so you can see the full picture. You can also reposition the lighting so it's a little bit more dramatic as well. So, you know, there's so much you could have done with this character to make him look a little bit less like a high schooler. And if he is a high schooler, he's one hell of an athlete. All right? So we're going to take a look back at where it was before. Tiny head, super effeminate face. And then where it is now, just with the portraiture and head resize. And then, of course, the reference. So I'm just going to take a reference of my green shot, but you can click on the little photo reference. The screenshot button right there. And Portrait Studio is currently on sale at 50% off. I have decided, because I'm going to be taking such a long break, I'm just going to leave it on sale for a good while. I'm not going to be present very much in the community while I'm working on my house. I'm going to be like on a pilgrimage, really, just like hard physical labor. It's going to give me a completely different perspective on my life, and I'm probably never going to, I'm not going to touch a paintbrush unless I'm painting a wall, or even go near my tablet. So it's going to be a really long period of time where I'm just away from you guys. And just to make it up for you, I'm going to leave it on sale. A lot of you are benefiting from this, and there's tons of benefits from Portrait Studio, and I want to keep it affordable. So I'm going to keep it at 50% off. And if it does go back up in price, it will most likely be only a 20% rise in the price. I want to keep it affordable. I think that's the best thing in you guys' favor. I have made enough sales that I can afford to put it on a lower price for you all. And anyone who has supported us, who bought it on full price over the years, thank you so much. You guys funded the improvement of Portrait Studio. You guys funded my entire life, so thank you very much. And it will go back up in price close to where it was, but of course it's not going to be close to 100. I know a lot of you are, you know, a little bit dealing with debts of your own and dealing with issues and trying to get jobs and have financial constraints, and so many people are happy that it's been on sale and so many people are benefiting from it. So I'm going to keep it on sale for a good while, at least until I come back. It'll be at 50% off until then. So let's pick up our reference. I took a screenshot, and I really recommend you guys get Greenshot. I'm not affiliated with them or anything. It's a free software, but it's just amazing to be able to just quickly cut this out and have it saved to your desktop and drag and drop. Like, it's so much better, especially if you're working with customers and you're working with clients and you want to just send them a quick screenshot of what you took. I used to use this a lot when I did commissions, and it's just so easy to use. Greenshot. You just have to adjust it to save to desktop. So let's make some adjustments. Like, let's make this guy, let's transform him. Before I do that, I would like to cut this off a little bit. Mostly because I just don't want to have to deal with the, I'll copy paste it back in. I don't want to have to deal with the bow in the way while I'm liquifying. So see how awkward this leg feels? It feels like he's about to fall forward. So let's take a gander at that first. Okay, but yeah, I ask for your prayers. I ask for strength. I pray for strength, that the upcoming month of construction is going to be easy to tackle. It's going to be pain-free, annoyance-free, obstacle-free. I mean, there's always going to be obstacles, but I hope to God that, you know, they're not insurmountable odds. I'm kind of used to finding insurmountable odds in my life. Constantly seem to find me. So it'd be nice, you know, once in a while for something to work out easily. So filter. And so far, so good. I'm not being ungrateful. So far, so good. So you did the opposite. You made one shoulder higher where it was supposed to be holding the bow, and one shoulder lower. It's supposed to be the free shoulder. You have so many asymmetries in the chest plate and the armor. I'm going to push this out and just like just push that out a little, just to show that the stance has a stable hip symmetry to it and some strength. And I kind of want to tilt his head down, so that means we're going to be seeing more ears move to the top. It's going to look a little distorted at first, just bear with me. It's going to look funny too. But I'm just trying to tilt the perspective down. To show more of the top of the nose and less nostril, because that's the big giveaway for perspective. The nose is more, the nose is a great place to represent perspective on a face. I mean, obviously, but for those who don't know that, write it back to me. And then just try to make this mouth feel a little bit less like it's a 60-year-old's mouth. And I think it's just because you made him have really strong jowls. Just increasing the size of the brush. As I shrink the brush, I pull the face down, and that'll help with the perspective shift. Just so that he looks like he's pushed his head down a little bit. And I'm going to try to make a 3/4 view happen somehow. I know, I'm crazy, but I'm going to try it. And I'm going to make him look ahead of him in that 3/4 view, which means we see less of this ear. I took that away, and more of this side. Less of this side. And the reason why the 3/4 view works is because a really bad character design stand-up that's trying to show something of the personality is one that kind of just looks like a really, it's not a T-pose, right? We're not sending this one off to the modeler. We're just exploring the character. This is just concept art, pre-production. It's not, you know, anything that is set in stone just yet. So you get to explore a little bit more personality and character. So I'm just trying to do something here where the 3/4 view is part of that personality exploration. I'm just being super careful with shifting everything over, as you can see. But you see, I didn't try to do 3/4 view and do the head tilt down. I did one and then did the other, and that'll just prove more beneficial. To us. That flat eyebrow is really what's helping him read as a male at the moment. Alright, and I'm just tucking in that ear. Tucking in the head. I'll be erasing some more of the ear as I go. And because the head tilted down, we have some more of the forehead less visible, like behind the bangs, and then we just need a bit more thickness on the neck. And then finally the chin will follow the 3/4 view. And again, I'm going to try even more to tilt that. And you see how I'm grabbing the space in between his eyes and trying to show less nostril. All that will help the head feel like it's been tilted. And then finally, I will actually tilt the whole head with Transform tool. So we just take a look at where it was. And this is fine too, it looks more heroic. This looks a little bit more strong character. I'm just going to tilt that head forward just a bit. And this is not how I recommend you do 3/4 view. This is, a 3/4 view should be planned. And I'm doing it this way because it's in a class and it's a demonstration and I want to show a little bit more character and kind of do my own exploration as well. This is a very stiff 3/4 view now, only because I can't fully move his head. Maybe I should fully move his head in front of the neck because his neck is so thick because he's so chonky. I'm gonna use some of that here to reveal his cheek and show more ear on this side and then this way. And then show more of this side. So it's just, it feels a little awkward, but I believe it will be better for the before and after. And then I'm going to shift the rest of the face over as well. So just more face occupies one far half, right? And that's going to help us complete the 3/4 view. I'll do a flip just to make sure things look fine. And that looks great. And then I'll merge that down and try to smudge the seams. So if I erase the seams, then I'm just going to make more trouble for myself. Alright, flip that back. Showing less of that far eyebrow. I feel like I pushed it too far, but that's okay. No, it's not. Alright, that's perfect. So then we're just gonna complete the rest with the foot, which is gonna be so tricky. So I'm just gonna do it in sections. Alright, so section number 1 is gonna be the top of the foot. First of all, I'm just gonna jump into Liquify and do as much as I can with Liquify. And then try to shape out the foot in appropriate perspective, constantly looking back at my reference over here. So we need a front part of the cube. So we need to generate a very basic cube shape for the perspective, right? And then we need to start seeing the top of the cube, which is where these laces sit. And then eventually I'll merge it back down and correct it with Liquify again to make sure it matches the foot and position there. But I wanted to just liquefy this separately so that we just get a better control with Liquify and not fuck everything up around it. Okay, so before his foot was broken, after, now it's in place. And I'm not sure if I need a second Liquify. Excuse me, I'm so sorry about that. And I'm gonna leave that where it is. A couple more issues. Remember how I increased the size of the chest and all of that? Well, I'm gonna try to do that as well here, including the arm and the head. Just feel like it's all a little bit too weak looking. Oh my god, who gives a shit? Shut up, Photoshop. So before, as you can see, after. A little bit more of a Herculean upper body. And then the head size, I will do one more adjustment because he is supposed to be young. So it just doesn't look right when he's such a, you know, like such an elongated humanoid. Did I even make a change? Yeah, I did. Okay. So a little bit more intimidating, a little bit more strong, definitely less effeminate. And I'm gonna give him more strength in his nose. This is, again, don't think this is your cop out of a bad recorder view. And all you got to do is just a couple of changes here and there with Liquify. Now, this is not optimal at all. This is just because Critique Hour is limited and my teaching format is limited. But, you know, I can't actually go in with PSDs every time, and I can't use the time jewel to reverse time and correct exactly where in time you made a mistake. But you guys are right now back in time before any painting of yours is started, and you can very much correct all of these small issues that ripple into massive, weird uncanniness. So you looked at this and thought, hey, there's nothing wrong with my painting. And then I'm going to show you the before, and you're going to be like, holy crap. Okay, what happened? That's because somewhere in your workflow, you overstepped, you got too comfortable, you didn't think about the choices you were making, you didn't get enough critique, you just finished painting a female, you didn't look up any references. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why the before looks like it does. Alright, I'm just gonna throw some of that blue over the eye just so he looks a little bit more strong. And these jowls, though they're great on a male, they just, again, they don't really read as strong, they read as old. And I don't think he's supposed to be an old character. He's mature, but he's not old. I'm going to correct the chin. The chin will definitely catch some light, and to zoom out for these changes. he still is a cute dude, right? He's still hot. He's just not a drag queen. Which is male template with female makeup signatures. That is what a drag queen looks like. Drag queen is not a transgender person in that, or a successful transgender person in that, you know, they cancel out their male signatures and replace them with purely female. I mean, everybody who wants to turn into a female would love if they looked perfectly female, you know? Would love if they were born female. That's the whole point. So you want to understand the extreme ends of the gender beauty spectrum so that you know when you're accidentally painting a character in transition. Sorry if that's a little too harsh for some of the snowflakes in the audience. And I'm just doing this here. Alright, and I just want to send out a quick little message. For those who watch my videos and then make videos of their own using terminology, specific terminology I coined, or quoting me exactly, or mimicking a video of mine without crediting me, that's just crap. It's just absolute shit to do that. Especially if you watch my videos very, very closely and it's an obvious thing that you do that and you imitate one of my videos almost exactly. And not credit. I mean, that's just really shitty. I mean, I'm not taking any money to do these critiques, and I'm not expecting anyone to pay me for doing these. It's all pro bono for the community, for the people. And the fact that you are, you know, promoting your own Patreon and that with my content, that's pretty crappy. So you know who you are. Please stop doing that. It's kind of stupid, and it's very obvious when you imitate one of my videos, especially when you use terms that I wrote in my book, terms that I not invented, but terms that are specific to me, that are directly stitched into my teaching process and my transformation as a teacher over the years, and my experience as a teacher that I've earned. These are terms that I use, that I worked with, and it'd be great if you showed some respect, because that is something that I've earned. And it's good to respect your teachers. Alright, and I'm just gonna bring in a little bit of shadow here. And just give him a bit more of a strong shape. And I know I've completely changed the expression, and these are changes I would have made, just like in that Jessica Rabbit video that I did. I applied changes early, so I did the early change, I made his head bigger, and I fixed some of that femininity. And then I did my stuff. Now he looks like Garen. So these are the changes I would make. These are my things. Oh, you completely changed it and I liked it before better. Well, I identified when my changes came in and when I wasn't changing the characterization or the storytelling. So these are storytelling changes I'm making. Physics is all the same. All right. So remember that really strong hip shift that I did just there. So we have head, then chest, then legs. That's exactly what I'm going to do next. I'm going to grab the chest, cut it completely, shift it over. Yes, just like that. And then I'm going to grab the head, cut it completely, and shift it over. Alright, so just take a look at the difference this made. Okay, so before, after. So it's a very big gesture change with just a couple small changes, and I just selected and shifted things over. This is something you should be sketching in, ideally, planning. When you have Portrait Studio and you open up your model, this should be something you do. But not everybody's workflow is perfect, of course. That's why we do critiques. And we all make mistakes. Istebrak, say the names. People have done that. I'm not saying who did it. Back when I was selling books, yes. That's something in the works. Hopefully my new big office will kind of change my mind space and change my life effectively. I am currently teaching out of a closet. I built my business out of a closet. Write that back to me. So literally my office is a closet. I kid you not. Ask Finn. And this time around, when I have this new house, I will actually have a full office room, 4 walls and all, just to myself. So that will be phenomenal. And I'll have a little writing area. I'll have a comfortable little setup, and maybe my mentality will change, and the pain won't seem so bad. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just throwing in. Now I'm gonna just be bringing in some light, and I'll write the shoulder. Forgot about that. I'm just gonna straight up. When we do this, it's really gonna change him. Look at that. He's just like. It's such a big change. Just moving the arm. I don't know if you guys see it, but it's made him that much more scary for me. This guy, he's won his spot. You know, he's earned his stripes. He's a guy who worked hard to become the killing machine that he is. I just don't think he'd be smiling like he's on stage, or like he's just taking a quick little friendly picture at the World of Warcraft convention thing that he dressed up for. I don't know. And then I'm just going to strengthen this far shoulder just a bit. Just give him some stronger traps right there. And that's just going to make him look a little bit more heroic, but he's still very young. And one more thing that you can do to make him, like, just really, for lack of better words, sexy, is you can just shove that leg right out. That's right, baby. Show me what you hide in there. It's bourbon on this poor dude. I would increase the size as well. No, I'm not naming names. I think I'm a bit more classy than that, but I will say something about it, and they know who they are, and that's just all that matters, really. I don't have to drag anyone through the floor, even though they deserve it. It's just that I have been told that I have been a critical part in everyone's who watches my videos, who has learned from me in their improvement. And I dedicated my entire life to teaching people how to draw, and only because I grew up in an abusive home that, you know, that basically tried to cut art from me. And it just bothers me that my dharma is being, benefited from certain groups. But then they don't think that I'm worth crediting. And it's not that I demand credit. All credit lies with God. God is the Redeemer, and I'm not really starving. And thank God, you know, I built my business, and I stay dedicated, and I sell my brushes, and I sell Portrait Studio, and I'm very comfortable. I thank God every day that I'm not where I used to be. And I've come so far. But it's not that I'm demanding a vanity or some kind of recognition it's if I played a part, as the teacher, would have loved to know that. And the fact that that's taken from me most of the time, because everyone's just looking out for themselves. I can't accept that that's the thing, you know. It's just disappointing and kind of sad. And if I did help you, not only is it good for me to know, just for my self-esteem, man, I help people, you know, I like that. It's, you know, fundamentally a respectful principle thing to credit whoever you just freaking quoted. Like, if I put this in a book, you'd have quoted me. What's the difference between a video and a book? So please quote me when you're using words that came out of my mouth. That's how it's been done throughout history. And that's okay if you don't quote me. My name is, you know, respected, and people know me, and people know what an Istebrak video looks like. And this has happened before with a way bigger channel that most of you know about already. And they never revealed themselves because, well, they knew they were wrong, and they knew they were in the wrong. Because, anyway, back again away from that rant. Let's just focus on this. Because I tilted his body back, I'm just gonna straighten him out. And I'm just gonna start bringing in that's really, really strong, using soft light, that strong environment color. And what is it? What is that light? Just the background value. That's it. It's just the white of the background I've brought in, and it'll just make him look like he's a part of his light environment. Light environment. All right. So a little bit more on the top of the head, a bit on the arm, but there are some areas that the light can't reach, and these areas will sit, you know, wherever we have a rib cage or, you know, the diaphragm bend inward before the abs, the lower part of the chest, the knees, the calf, the ankles, but the top of the feet, looking up at the light, they get some light. Oh yes, the knees do look misaligned. That's right. One knee should be higher, one knee should be lower. Thank you, Lighthouse. And the reason why I try not to focus on people who do that to my channel or try to, you know, like sneak in. So many little sneaks have happened over the years. Little sneaky people who like saw my potential and thought to try to channel it instead of, you know, recognize it or show it some respect. But anyway, I don't like to focus on them because for every one asshole, I get like 100 angels. And I try not to focus on them too much. They don't matter to me. So once in a while, oh, something pisses me off, and I'm just like, fuck, it's so obvious you quoted me, and it's just really, you know, sometimes your pride just takes a blow, and after all the back pain and after all the shit, sometimes patience runs out, you know, and you just gotta say something on your video. So the top of these little knee pads or shin pads are gonna get some light. And I'm going to just straighten that arm like I said I would and didn't. And it can stay out like that. I would just want it to look heavy and strong. And who is this benefiting? You know, this is benefiting your portfolio. If you end up, you know, wanting to work for Riot, you've got a painting that looks like a Riot character design layout. You know, the ones they release after a ridiculous character. Okay. So I'm just going to straighten it out. League is destroyed, man. League is over. League is just over. It's just something about it is just irreparable. Something happened to League and it's just never going to be the same. Literally released a character with 16 moves, and everyone with characters of 5 or less moves with their thumb up their ass is just trying to face this retarded Phelios down bot. And I'm just sorry I'm ranting about this. It's so irrelevant, but it just really pissed me off. Like, okay, fuck everybody who knows how to play every other character. Well, we all play a Phelios now. It's just some stupid shit. This is only because the bow is going to have a wingspan to it, right? It's going to just have some thickness. It's got some thickness here going in, so he needs just a little bit of relief. I also don't know why he's holding it with the string. If he is, you should be holding the thing, and then the bow string should be towards the bottom. And to make him a little bit more heroic, he could be holding it like a spear. Right. Just like, oops. Just like that. And then I'm just going to increase the size of his arm just to make him look more scary. For the gauntlet design-wise, I would just increase that gauntlet size. You know what they say about gauntlet size, don't you, girls? That's so bad. That's such a boomer joke. So I'm just going to increase that size. Just because it might like, you know, help with the design, moving into the big ass bow. You got this big old bow and you got this skinny little wrist holding it like that. I just feel like we should get bigger and bigger items the closer we get to this big bulky bow, because it just feels like nothing's matching up here. That bow looks humongous and larger than life, and everything else feels a little bit minuscule. Maybe a little bit extra detail here and there. Sorry classes, it's getting a little bit longer these days. I just have more to say, I think. And I have fun, you know, working on these pieces. And I love, you know, applying more work and then just seeing that before and after change. If this is an existing IP and I've changed too much, I mean, feel free to backtrack. And if this was supposed to be fan art, even though fan art is not allowed. I mean, it is if you worked on it a little more. It's not like a anime fan art or something like that. But if I could like get you all to come help me move, that would be so cool. I just don't want to tell people where I live because that's kind of creepy. And there's a lot of people who I don't want to know, who I don't want to know where I live. Like I can name names. I'm not gonna do that. And but if I could, I'd be like, y'all come help Istebrak move. She lives in blah 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 blah. We're all gonna go for ice cream later. That'd be so cool. Alright, Istebrak, shut up. So we're gonna flatten the image. Discard layers. No. Flatten. Is this the before? I don't think so. I'll just do a complete before and after. Alright. So before. Such an unsmooth before. Before. So let's look at the face, a little effeminate. Thin eyebrows look like they've been overplucked. Now I don't even pluck my eyebrows at that. After, a little bit more of a strong position in the legs. And one thing I want to do now that I looked at the before is just kind of bring in that lighting we found in Portrait Studio. So that really great shadow lighting. Just sitting there under the cheeks. That long nose shadow. And then use some of that white of the background. But that's it. That's all the magic is of making a successful light environment. Just choose the freaking background color. You chose it for a reason. And it should be present everywhere else. Before. Istebrak is Miss Frizzle. It's not a fan art, and I love the way he looks. Thanks so much for the critique. Really solved all I wanted. You're very welcome, Lauren, too. Right, so he feels a little bit less elongated or humanoid. The 3/4 view might not be something you want, but you can, you know, do something else with that. And then the bow. Oh no, he's not holding it with the string. My bad. He had a handle. The bow now will feel a little bit more placed. What I want to do, one more thing, is I tilted the body forward. I don't want to do that anymore. I want it to make him look like he's standing. So before, after, and to make him look more intimidating just because the gauntlet is heavy, you can just keep the arms straight. But I would bend that arm backward a little, back forth a little bit. If he's not going to be holding a bow in this one, because I know you weren't going to make him hold a bow in both. Okay. if you want to do that. So he'll look a bit stronger. But if it was up to me, I would have tilted his head like that. I'd have done this kind of lighting. This kind of lighting is hella cool in a character design. I mean, we can do it if you want to. We just have to darken the background because then it wouldn't really explain why there's so much shadow drowning out the face. But if there's more of the face that you want to show, you know, feel free to keep the lighting basic. And this other arm feels a little bit shy. I mean, it would be cool if his other arm was just there. He'll feel a little bit more strong. It doesn't have to be hiding. Like, just imagine it with me right now if his other arm was, you know, just there. I think that would be a little bit more strong a position for him. Felt a little bit shy before. Right. So before, after, and oh, I forgot one really horrible thing that I should not have forgot. My bad. The most beautiful thing in a painting sometimes is a cast shadow. My bad. Isn't that important? Alright, before, after. Any questions at all about this? I do have to read up to everything you guys said. So I have a quick form question if you have time. Sure, Mango, go ahead. What even just docks the Istebrak's true identity? I can confirm Istebrak is a floating eyeball with hands. Istebrak going off on affiliates. What happens if you liquefy the side? Oh, thank you for that. And I want to go through and clip all of Istebrak's sound effects. Istebrak built her business out of a closet. Do I sell books? I will. Yes, people have done this. I think Salam Toma. I think that's it. I don't think there were any other questions. Let's jump back down. I'm having a hard time with the inner eye between eye and nose concave areas for some reason. I get convex shading, and I know how concave the opposite. Concave is the opposite, but still having some trouble. I'm not sure I understand. I'm not sure I understand. I would just have to see the issue and have you like kind of write it up. Try to draw a diagram of it and ask the question to the community. So go to istebrak.com and click on the Reddit icon. Post your question with a diagram here. Hopefully I'll have a look at it. I'll see it. It'll catch my eye and I'll try to answer it. But the rest of the community will try to answer it as well. One thing I'd love in Portrait Studio are maybe pre-made poses. Common poses to choose from. It'd be easier to adjust what we want compared to starting fresh, kind of like the Handy app. Oh, very, very smart. Okay. I'm sure Abo has already taken note of that. I'm sure that has already been applied to Portrait Studio. But we'll see. That's it for today. I am not feeling so good, so I should go and call it a day. Thank you everyone for joining. If you learned something today and you believe in my work, you believe in the community, and you want to help support the community, go to Patreon. You just have to join for $1. It's not even a mandatory, but it's not a bill. It's an option to join as a watcher. It helps support the community. If everyone joined on the community, I really wouldn't have to continuously request for patrons to join as watchers. Like I said in my last class, YouTube has almost brought my subscribers down to a trickle, and I make close to nothing a year on AdSense because my videos are too long, and there's no way I'm ever going to shorten these videos. Never. As long as I am alive, I will never shorten my videos. I could have clipped some of these videos into shorter ones, but I don't have the time at the moment or the mind space to do that. And I don't want to pay for like $100 a year, $100 a month to have these edited for me by another, like an editor. So at the moment, I'm not ever going to shrink my videos. The only way is for them to be edited and added on top of my library. as just little previews. I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you everyone for joining today. I love when you guys join the live classes. I really appreciate it. And Portrait Studio is on sale if you want to buy it. The posing app that we have here, it's on the store at 50% off, along with my brush set, which is also on sale and will stay on sale as long as I'm absent. I do apologize. I hope this is my apology to you guys that I've kept it on sale for this long, that I am going to be absent yet again for a month. I did not want to do this. I did not want any changes in my life, but the apartment building was sold and they're trying to force everyone to sign leases. I've been meaning to buy a house so I can have a bigger place to, you know, host my Christmas get-togethers that I do every year, and I've always just done that through my tiny ass apartment. But now I'm gonna have all the space in the world to do everything I want. It's an old house but lots of space, which is what I wanted. It's like up against a forest. It's 2 acres, not 2 acres of land, no. It's 2 extra lots of land and a ton of acres that don't belong to me but will never be worked on in the back. And a lot of space for my wood shop, which I want to finally have. I don't know if that's what it's called, a wood shop, right? Like a shop, like a woodworking shop. I've always wanted one of those, and I will finally get one. And I just cannot wait until everything is done and done. Even the flooring doesn't have to be down for me to set up my office again. I just want the walls painted and the ducts cleaned because I have crazy allergies. So all of that just depends on who can see me when appointments will be set, when internet goes back up. It's going to be one hell of a ride within the next 2 weeks. And I think this is the last week I'm doing Critique Hour. I think that all of next week I'll be boxing things up and hoping to God that we get a call back soon from the bank and we can move in. Thank you everyone for joining. Wish us some luck. We bought an old house and it might be haunted. And we're just going to be like, I can't even explain the kind of work ahead. But wish us luck, you guys. And I love you all very, very much. Bye.